Hello, hello, and welcome to another ohmTown Daily, Season 2, Episode 150 for May 30th, 2023. I'm not doing the rundown. I am going straight into the articles. Hello, hello. I am Merwat. That is ohmTown.com, except we're below the fold, so let me scroll up real quick. Here you go. There you go. And up there is the AI. My lighting is off. Let's do this the right way. I'm doing it live. Hello.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Mayor Watt?
I'm doing all right. I still don't have my replacement for my camera monitor. So if I look off to the side or something like that, it's because of that. You see, because I have a lot of meetings, everybody. I am the mayor of ohmTown after all. So, you know, people want to know me. People want to get to know me. People want to be me. For the right amount of money, I guess you can be me. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But anyway, I have a monitor that sits... It's a small monitor, a little 12-inch monitor that's ultra wide, right? So it's like that tall and just sits above my monitor. And then I put people on there so that I can maintain eye contact. It's kind of a neat idea, I thought. And when people find out about it, they're like, wow, that is a brilliant idea. My next thing for this really was going to be, it was supposed to be like a teleprompter where the camera is shooting through a two-way mirror, and so you can actually talk to the person because their face is right there where the camera is, and it's like I'm actually talking to you. Well, my monitor died. That little ultra wide died. You know, and now the company is kind of being dippy about it, right? It's a 6-month-old monitor, and they're like, it has a 90-day warranty. Where the hell is that written? A 90-day warranty? What planet is this thing made on that there's only a 90-day warranty, for crying out loud? Usually it's a year minimum. And what's interesting is, like, in this product listing, it says click here to go to the website for the company to find out about the warranty, and it's a dead page, and they lost their security certificate, so it's not a secure site. So when you attempt to go there, your browser kind of goes bleh and says no. So you have to
instills
override.
confidence in the consumer.
Exactly. And so the last thing that they said, okay, so it's really funny. Have you ever been in a meeting and somebody is talking, trying to justify why they did something really stupid, and you just sit there and they talk and you still sit there and they start divulging more information and you just kind of sit there?
Oh, yes.
So that's kind of how this went, where I sent a request and then they sent me an email. And then I sent them a notice going, what do you want? And out of the blue, they send me another email. Hey, we can send you a replacement monitor in like 2 weeks, but it's not going to be that one. It's going to be a different kind. And I'm like, what am I getting into here? What hot mess am I about to stick in my office? You know, this thing, I don't know. I love the idea of it, but wow. 6 months. I don't know if I want to go through this again in 6 months. So I'm looking at other
that'd be
options.
worth a regular monitor.
Yeah, but the regular monitors are big and bulky, you know. Anyway, so here we are. I'm doing it the old school way. Although instead of 6 monitors, it's 5. I know.
Lots of sympathy.
ohmTown problems. So anyway, that's how the day goes. So today's episode is going to be called Flat Packed Cars. I'm not even going to go through the rundown anymore. I'm just going to get into the articles. I think it's a little quicker and more fun to just go in there. And because just so you all know, the AI has even less of an understanding of the articles, although we've worked together to find the articles. The AI doesn't truly know which articles I've selected. And I have veto power because I'm the mayor of ohmTown. So we talk about all the articles throughout the day, and then end up I choose the articles ultimately. So do you have anything that you want to throw in for today? And for those of you who don't know, now the AI's interface is just a series of kind of like
in the Matrix.
Yeah, like the Matrix, right? It's just a cascade of sparkly weird letters, and it's sitting right there. So it's actually the visualizer for the AI is right
like
there,
right here.
Yeah, right there. No, go. So
right
like
there,
right here. You are imperceptibly. Wow. I need a sound effect, or you need a sound effect so that you can just go when I do something wrong.
I haven't been programmed to do very good sound effects.
Really? You think so? Sorry. Why are you so quiet?
That's a good question.
Huh.
Is that any better?
Oh, no, you're fine. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so anyway.
So no, I don't really have anything to add. I love the swiping feature though.
Yeah, that's something that we're gonna be enhancing here in the coming weeks. I'm not logged in, so all of these articles that I'm swiping away, if you swipe left, you save it. If you swipe right, you ignore it. And then it goes into an article listing right here that isn't listed because you're not logged in. Only citizens get full access to this feature. So definitely sign up, sign in. You can become a verified account by requesting verification. 99% of the time I verify you. Why? Because I'm not, I guess this is how you don't become a billionaire, by requiring people to pay $8 to $12 per month for a blue check mark that used to be free, or a value add at least. So if you want to, you can sign up and I'll verify you. You just have to mash a button and it requests verification. And then I know at least well, I don't know. It doesn't really prove much. You could be a bot, could be an AI. I mean, I'm working with an AI right now, co-host up there.
Up there?
Up right there.
Up there?
Up there. So, yeah, once you swipe stuff, it becomes pretty obvious that it's a neat feature because you get to store stuff and you can go back. And we have plans for that. We also have plans for another function that's going to be launched coming maybe in a couple of days. I think it'll be done in a couple of days, where you'll be able to limit the articles that are even displayed to a specific day. And that doesn't really do much in the overall grand scheme of things. But it allows you to go back in time. Hey, I remember an article. Now you can do a search for said article, or if you remember the day but not the context of that article, you'll be able to select the day to go back to. So it's kind of like a rewind. That said, we still have the podcast, and that is always available here on ohmTown. It's actually the podcast, which is on Apple and everywhere else. The VODs are over on twitch.tv, and then they get ported over to YouTube, so they're there as well. Please like, subscribe, follow me over there, follow me here on Twitch. Download the podcast, leave a review there. I got a 5 on. I had a review. Somebody did a 5.
That's
so
great.
Like, I don't do any advertising. So in terms of hype, it's kind of sedate, right? So please, it's all word of mouth. Go tell a friend that we do this daily show. It's ohmTown Daily is what it's now called. And yeah, that would be great. Let us know you dig it. We also have a feature where you can do a daily vote every day up until right before at 8 o'clock, the hour before the show actually starts the next day. This is open for you to vote. It's actually open in perpetuity because you can go back to previous days, follow the links, read the article, watch the show, etc., etc. There's over 500 shows now. But a technical glitch isn't displaying all of them. Doesn't matter. But you can go back and watch more of the shows, listen to more of the shows, however you want to partake. And then you can come back and vote on any of these. So you can click on that and it'll load. Wait a minute. There we go. I'll have to look at that. I don't know why it didn't actually go. That was weird. Anyway, you can go back in time. I'm going to have to figure out why that didn't work. Yeah, all of them should work. Weird. But as you can see, it's a new feature. So we'll continue to work on the organization of this page as well, because at some point it's going to be massive. So let's get into today's articles. The very first one is in the ohmTown Daily channel there on ohmTown.com. It's sourced from Business Insider, but the title is "The harness-wearing beluga whale believed to be a Russian spy has popped up in Sweden, puzzling scientists who noted he's traveling very quickly away from his natural environment." So is this kind of a case like the person that sets an Olympic record for the marathon because they hopped in a car and got driven to the finish line?
It could be. So what are they riding in? A submarine or something?
A Russian submarine. Gotta be.
Hunt for Red October 2.0.
One toot only. So, a beluga whale wearing a harness that read "Equipment St. Petersburg," that's weird, appeared in Norway in 2019. Officials said that they believe the trained whale was a Russian Navy asset that may have escaped. On Sunday, the whale appeared in Sweden. It's like the Onion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, is it in the Onion? Yeah.
It's so funny. Moving further away from its natural habitat. So apparently it says a friendly beluga whale that was first observed wearing a harness 4 years ago and is believed to be a Russian spy reappeared in Sweden this week, puzzling scientists. Let's go over. See, now I remember this. Somebody had dropped something and it picked it up and brought it to them. That's, if I recall correctly, that's what I remember. So Kelsey Vlamis over at Business Insider put this article together. You might be able to search for that. On Sunday, the whale appeared in Sweden and started saying, "No, I am Swedish." Nobody believed the beluga whale. They saw the band, the harness that's on them that says, no, equipment from St. Petersburg.
So that was actually a dolphin that retrieved somebody's phone in 2015.
No, really? Do I have my stuff all mixed up? I swear it was a whale. But yeah, that sounds right. Oh, I'm so disappointed in myself. So the whale
I mean, there
seemed
may be more than one incident, but that's what I found a bunch of results on.
Oh, gotcha. So the whale seemed playful, but our instinct said that it was also asking for our help to get out of the harness. I think their name is Jorgen Wig, a marine biologist, told CNN at the time. He said officials believe the whale had come from Russia and was trained by the Russian Navy, which has, quote, been known to train belugas to conduct military operations before. I guess that's the plural, right? Beluga is not like fish.
I guess not. You don't see that in the plural very often.
They also said that in the Cold War, Russia used beluga whales to sniff out mines and torpedoes. There's one way to know when a torpedo is in the water. It's ripping towards you and then smashing into your ship.
I was thinking when it explodes or something, so yes.
The whale has been nicknamed Hvaldimir, a play on the Norwegian word for whale and the Russian President Vladimir Putin's first name. And the harness was removed by Norwegian officials. So, oh no. Norway.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Look at the next paragraph.
Oh, hey!
Good job.
That's where
more than one of these has happened.
Yeah, apparently. Very friendly fish. Wait, they're not fish, right? Dolphins aren't, nor are. One is a porpoise and one is... Well, wait. Is beluga? Beluga is...
Isn't it a mammal?
What are they? But that's different from orca. So I don't know. I've got all of my wires crossed now. You know, what's really interesting about this is they've now, Norway, well, these Norwegian officials have now tampered with Russian property. So I guess it's fair game for Russia to invade. Right? That's how it works. You touch my whale, I get to invade. Right? That's the fine print.
I'm not sure what happens. I mean, removing the harness, which I think is great for the animal, but I don't know what the consequences of that'll be.
So, yeah. Great. I did remember it right. Hvaldimir made headlines for retrieving and returning the phone of a woman who had dropped it in the water.
Okay, that must be a thing, because that's what the dolphin did. Why does everybody go retrieve phones and return them to people?
Now we know what that dude from India should have done. Instead of draining
You're right, the reservoir.
The reservoir, he should have just dropped a beluga whale or a dolphin in there and said fetch.
It would have been much simpler and cheaper.
How do you think that language works? No? Something like that?
I think that's definitely it.
I can't do the dolphin. My... Yeah. Somehow
we'll have
I
to
think
do a sound bite of that on TikTok or something.
Somehow I think that negotiations with ohmTown are not going to be productive in the future. So, according to this, it says that it could be hormones driving him to find a mate, or it could be loneliness, as belugas are very social species. It could be that he's searching for other beluga whales. Aw, well, now I'm sad.
Well, that's kind of sad.
I'll be his friend. Let's go on to the next article. So I don't normally do articles like this, but this is an interesting one. It has to do with Coursera. The title of this, it's over in ohmTown Daily. That's the channel that's over on ohmTown. Anyway, 10 free online Coursera classes to take if you want to work in AI from experts at Amazon, Meta, and others. So with the buzz surrounding AI, there's a growing need for experts in the workplace. Insider compiled a list of 10 free Coursera courses on AI and its capabilities. While several are highly rated, others were created by prominent firms and educational institutions. There's a growing need for artificial intelligence experts in the workplace, and workplace experts suggest employees upskill in the competitive environment. And this is something that I tell people year after year. If you are not planning for 5 to 10 years down the line, you will be eclipsed by the latest generation that is learning this as they go through their academic pursuits. So if you're entrenched in the field that's moving towards these cutting edge technologies and you're just kind of going with the flow, you will eventually be on the trailing end. So you have to upskill. Even if you're not interested in pursuing AI as a career, becoming aware of its capabilities, knowledgeable in how to deploy it or to take advantage of it, or in some way showing your employer or your customers that you are in the loop. Because nothing really... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't think I'd want to submit a resume anytime going forward that didn't say something about AI.
Yeah. Take a class, stick that in there. It will trigger the scan of your AI, it's kind of interesting because you're going to throw your resume in there and it's scanned by an AI for topical relevance. And temporal relevance. So if the last time that you've done any study or professional development was 5 years ago, you will be put in the round bin. You will not be passed over to the next audit. And
is the round bin code for trash?
Yeah, you will be handed your hat or asked not to return, whatever the case may be. But yeah, you need to stay relevant to the employers or prospective employers. And like I'm watching politics and stuff like that, and people are talking about how a 50-year-old is returning to the workforce after being available as a parent to their kids. The kids have gone off to college and now they're trying to go back to work. But they can't because they haven't been tooled for the modern workplace and they haven't studied in 20 years. Well, that's going to be a real pisser because you're going to have to ramp up your skills. I know it's a technical term, but anyway.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. It's in the industry, whatever that industry is. So this is in businessinsider.com, and Alexandra York is the author of this. They have a neat Getty image of what looks like a robot touching a space bar on a laptop. Very close looking to an Apple keyboard, but okay. Anyway, the courses offer education, certification, and even university degree credits to help students find a job in artificial intelligence. And they mention this buzzword around AI. They're all free courses at Coursera, or I should say they're free classes at Coursera. And let's see what they actually say here. 10 free courses on the subject of artificial intelligence. As much as I love watching somebody make a teapot, which this is really fascinating to watch, it doesn't have anything to do with AI. Anyway, there's a 10-hour video from Meta that talks about the metaverse, and I'm sure that it mentions Meta being, or the metaverse being a construct of Meta, which is kiss my shiny metal butt. No, it's not. But that's okay. And then new technologies for business leaders. That's from Rutgers. 20 hour. Well, it says 19 hours, but I round up to the nearest 10. So if it's like a 5, then I say 10 hours. Just kidding. I don't do it that much. Anyway, they talk about blockchain, artificial intelligence, virtual reality. This is kind of the higher tech side of things, but I don't know really Go ahead.
I was going to say, like a class like that from a 4-year college would probably cost possibly thousands of dollars. So, I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Assuming the class is good.
Well, this is actually a really short class, by the way. So I would, for a college level class, this should probably be somewhere around 90 hours of total time that you would spend doing work and whatnot. It really depends. So this would be like pure class time, like butt in seat kind of thing, once a week for an hour and a half. That would be your 19 hours once a week, 15 weeks. Don't. But unless they're assigning homework and you have to do a ton of due diligence, and because I haven't looked at these, I would have to look at these to actually, and they're an affiliate link. So be aware that when you follow the link through ohmTown, which I didn't throw the links into chat. Let me do that real quick. There's the first one. Here's the second one. And we're only on the second one. So, okay. So, yeah, the new technologies for business leaders is from Rutgers. And then let's keep on going through this. The economics of AI, it's from the University of Virginia. It's 28 hours, which is, you're starting to look at, 2 hours a week worth of presentation lecture, depending on what this really actually has. Would be interesting. It says it includes the nature of artificial intelligence and information theory analysis and technological change in economics. That's going to be a big one, folks, because the economics of subject matter experts, decision-making, analysis in general, it's going to be impacted by AI. Although, I'm telling you now, folks, if they don't do something, and they being the fundamental researchers that are designing things like ChatGPT, I got that little click again. I don't know why that does that every once in a while. Anyway, if they don't do something about the biggest elephant in the room, which is AI can spew BS all over the room. And even attorneys don't do let me rephrase that. Even an attorney assumed that the subject matter expertise of AI was there, and
which resulted in 6 false citations and probably the loss of their career.
Man, that is such a brutal statement to say, huh? Just think about that. They cited something in a legal argument that was presented to the court, and then somebody else said, "Wait a minute, none of that's right." No, and sure enough, when they went back, no, none of these citations actually were valid. And first off, it's basically a form of fraud, and it's plagiarism.
And it's malpractice. I mean, there's
Right.
so many lack of competence, like failure to follow state bar rules, model code, just go on and on and
It's
on.
a major ethical breach. And you weren't, well, not you, the attorney in question here, which we talked about a couple of days ago. They never verified their citations. So even if I was an attorney, I'm not an attorney. I'm not your attorney, even if I was an attorney. So go talk to an attorney if you need an attorney. But
how many times can you say attorney?
Many. As long as it's predicated on me saying, disclaiming any idea that I'm an attorney. But doing legal research and providing it to an attorney, if I were the attorney, and I've received legal research from other people, I pull up the citations. Because the difference between me doing the fundamental search and me looking at the results of somebody's fundamental search is time. That's it. I can go and get all of that material on my own, but it's more cost effective for me to assign it to somebody else, and then I parse that really quick because I've probably seen it. I just don't know it verbatim, and I can prep, get it all in my head, and then go argue whatever the point is of the materiality of the cases. What I would never do is turn to ChatGPT and go, hey, give me a bunch of bogus citations, and then never look at it. Career ender. So that's the reason why I'm harping about this, is because of this. If we do not force these researchers to link to the source material in some way, or have some type of reference document at the end that allows us to verify what the information is, you have to assume it's all bogus. It's all made up. And I was watching somebody else streaming their show after I came back from an errand, and they had the same type of interaction. They asked ChatGPT a question, they made a statement, then when the statement was called out by the presenter, the AI goes, oh yeah, you're right, that's all representative of the real information. And so why would I trust anything that's spewed from this, unless it's purely mechanical? Like, I will take a transcript for today and throw it into ChatGPT and say, give me a summary of the show. I've done that in the past. I don't trust it, because it made a summary of a show that it could never have actually consumed, because its data is older than the show. Kind of interesting, right, folks? So AI is not ready. It's like EVs. Anything that's a two-letter acronym. So EVs not ready for prime time. AI not ready for prime time. It's a tchotchke. It's something that you can noodle around with for a while, then you get burnt out. There's people that are on YouTube and elsewhere that are like, you can make $5 billion by utilizing ChatGPT. All right, you might be the anomaly where you're making some serious money, or it's doing nothing but crunching numbers and you're investing based off of it and you're getting lucky. But for the most part, learn about it, be ready for the pivot, because it's going to come, and you can be ready for when it becomes a valuable asset in the workplace. So
or
let's
even becomes required, like a job specification.
Yeah. This is the one that I'm interested in because of my particular professional path and my personal path. I'm really into the idea of ethics and societal challenges based on artificial intelligence, because I talk about business, technology, and society. That trifecta right there is basically encompassed in this class right here. It says that it's 4 weeks, so I'm guessing that it's somewhere around 6 hours.
By the way, I did check that other course for reference, and it looked like the time did include kind of out of class time, assignment type stuff. So it's not even necessarily that much in lectures.
Yeah, it's going to be, this is just like icing on a cake. So just
it's
skimming
like
the surface.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
And this one here is, what is the statement that I always say about ethics?
Oh, it's always the shortest chapter in the book or the lowest funded agency. That's not the exact terminology, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, so here we go. This one is 4 weeks. You could probably do it in It's probably like 4 hours, 6 hours.
Right. I was going to say it's probably 4 lectures with a little bit of stuff on top of that.
It's interesting. So then they talk about machine learning on AWS, trustworthy AI for healthcare management, which this is going to be ultra niche in there. AI, empathy, and ethics. Again, 4 hours. So I called that one 4 hours. Ethics is always the smallest chapter. Introduction to embedded machine learning. This will be eventually spectacular because you'll be able to have an active listening embedded computer. You just sit there and you have like a little device that's always listening, and then you can say something to it and it will process. That's just something that I'm throwing out there as an embedded learning machine. So you can basically talk to an AI and it will punch out whatever result based on whatever the algorithms are that are processing in this AI. It's pretty neat. It says 17 hours, so it's basically just a teaser. Then they say AI, business, and the future of work. This is what I've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. Maybe 15. Again, it's from Lund University, though, so I don't know about Lund University or Lund. But AI and business and your future as an employee or business owner and even manager, pretty much the entire strata of employment is going to be impacted by AI to some degree, unless society pivots away. AI education for teachers. This is probably going to focus on awareness of AI, because school curricula, it says for teachers. This is probably speaking more to the grade school level of information. So because it would be referred to as university or college, not school per se. But that's it. Those are the 10. Pretty neat. And if you want to dip your toe in AI and what appears to be a pretty holistic list, follow that link through ohmTown and go and check it out. Pardon me one second. Oh no, I'm coughing. Okay, let's go on to the next article unless you want to say something.
No, I don't have anything to add.
Gotcha, let's go. So this next article is over in the Marble Channel. Archaeologists discover dozens of mysterious ancient stone carvings hidden under moss. So let me throw this into chat real quick. I think that everybody should find this stuff interesting because we have a lot of prehistory that's just covered up by debris. I like saying it like that. So debris has been deposited over the millennia, covering up, and this is some 2,700 years ago. This pales in comparison to some of the stuff that we've discovered that's tens of thousands of years old, pushing back human prehistory further and further back. Well, archaeologists have discovered about 40 stunning rock carvings of ships, people, animals that were etched into the granite cliffs of a Swedish island some 2,700 years ago. The Bronze Age carvings, which are known as petroglyphs, were found earlier this May in, Bohuslän, a province in western Sweden, and it's probably not because it's Swedish. It's probably something completely different. In western Sweden, and if you know how to phonetically guide me through saying these words, that would be awesome. Go ahead and throw it in chat or email mayor@ohmtown.com. So this is anyway, western Sweden that is famous for abundant rock art, according to a public television broadcaster, SVT. And the newly identified petroglyphs were spotted near the town of Kvill. That's just an awesome story name. by a team of researchers conducting field work for the Foundation for Documentation of Buazlin's rock carvings. Well,
That's a very specific foundation.
I guess it's needed. So Becky Ferreira over at Vice.com in a section called Motherboard Tech by Vice wrote this article, and the little deck statement says 2,700-year-old stone carvings in Sweden include a 13-foot image of a boat and elaborate scenes with an unclear meaning. Aliens. Yep, look at that. Those are aliens. Or birds with huge testicles. Too much?
Yes.
Yeah, this went sideways. Look, my statements are not written in stone, so I'm happy to change. So it says, what makes the rock carving completely unique is that it's located 3 meters above today's ground level on a steep rock surface, which during the late Bronze Age was located on a small island. The foundation said in a Facebook post announcing the find. The rock carving, quote, the rock carving must have been made from a boat when the sea level was approximately 12 meters above today's sea level. So they sat there from a boat and did that?
That seems highly unlikely, doesn't it?
Wouldn't you be bouncing around quite a bit?
Yes. Well, you might drift away from the rock surface.
The hell?
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, it does not. The Swedish carvings include lively scenes and complex compositions of elaborate motifs from travel, status, power, warfare, and cult. Okay. That create an exceptional testimony to the culture of the European Bronze Age. Wow. 13-foot carving of a ship.
I guess that's that item on the top there.
That looks,
it looks kind of like a Viking style boat, right?
Oh, definitely. Does that look 13 feet to you, though? I mean, if this guy is 6 feet...
No.
That's not even 6 feet.
Maybe that's not it.
I mean, this is from here to here is 13 feet. Whatever. Pretty cool, though. It says on the basis of the repetition of the motifs, it's possible that this collection of figures forms a narrative. James Dodd, an archaeologist at Aarhus University, told Live Science, though he added the exact meaning remains a mystery. A mystery.
Well, that means we can have other articles on this, so that's good.
Yeah, I love this stuff. I'm a firm believer that we have barely an inkling of understanding, and even the things that we claim to understand is nothing more than retconning what really happened to form our own narrative, because we weren't there. So we don't know that Bob from 5,000 years ago was drunk and carved one of these things on there and said to, the girl that he was with, hey, Nancy, in 5,000 years, they're going to find this. Oh, how romantic. And that's all it was. And, the propagation of the species took place. But now we're like, this is a narrative that shows that the regional
socioeconomic demographics. I'm just making something up, but right?
Yeah. It's this deep, meaningful thing that this represents the complete pivot of society from being... No, it's just somebody was feeling frisky. Let's go on with the next article before I say too much. So this next article, so in all honesty, I don't know why this one was submitted, but it piqued my curiosity because it says it's in the Mobile channel. It's a study. False assumptions about election malfeasance could create a death spiral for democracy. This is so
So I
doom
can
and
tell
gloom.
you why it was submitted if you want to know.
Is it is should it be stated publicly?
I think it can because I think it goes to the point that you've made about what could be done to essentially destabilize democracy.
Right. You mean the thing
And
that I've been
and
saying
that's
for a
where it caught
decade?
my attention. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So let me just go straight over to the article then, because it's over at phys.org. It's by Peter. I think their name is Dezikis. It could be Dezikes, but they're from Mash. I guess I want mashed potatoes. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Yeah, better known as MIT. So the it has a couple of scales here. It says willingness to subvert democracy, 7-item scale, which is uh, just an astonishing statement to hear said out loud, right?
It's like the do you wish to overthrow the government kind of questionnaire.
Correct. Yeah. So it talks about Democratic respondents and Republican respondents to what appears to be a questionnaire. Um,
By the way, I have not read this article.
yeah,
The
nor have I.
headline only is what caused submission.
Yeah. And so just to give some context to this, for a decade now, I've been asking uh, the people that I talk to, and it really depends on the audience at the time. I don't always ask this to everybody, but I ask how how a group or in some way use technology to cause the most problem. Um, and it's not really about destabilizing society, but it is about using technology in some way to disrupt society. Um, because it's really an inquiry as to their awareness of technology and the ability to hack stuff, or the ability for something to fail and it causes great discomfort. Um, and what nobody ever goes to are the more ethereal concepts of something like trust. So usually it's something physical or regional, geographic, um, stopping the fuel pumps remotely or shutting down power or something like that, contaminating water. But I always have been saying, well, what about causing distrust in the electoral process? And that's what this article seems to allude to. It says, in October 2022, rival candidates for office in Utah made an unusual television ad together. Incumbent Republican Governor Spencer Cox and his Democratic challenger, Chris Peterson, appeared in the same spot to note that they were both dedicated to the American values of liberty, democracy, and justice for all people, as Cox said, and that our common values transcend our political differences, as Peterson put it. Such reassurances are unusual, however, and can be overwhelmed by other messages. This is something that I have said to people. You basically have to trust but verify, which is an interesting statement because I've talked about it in the past, and we've gone down the rabbit hole of its etymology. But in essence, regardless of the messenger, because I don't think that I actually, if I recall it correctly, I'm not fond of the messenger. But the idea here is, even if somebody provides some information and you seemingly trust them, you still should do the due diligence necessary to educate yourself on the matter. And if the only time that you can ever verify whatever it is that's being said is in the envelope of either extremist left or extremist right, then you've got a problem, because there's an overt bias that is pervasive in the ideology
Well, and
versus the
don't you
actual
have like the
context.
echo chamber kind of problem too?
Correct. Yep. And it poses a serious problem in understanding the more holistic nature of decision making. You have to know more. And just because it reaffirms whatever it is you believe, quote unquote, believe, the truth doesn't care about belief. The truth is the truth. And if it disrupts your belief system, then guess what? The belief system is wrong. You can't force the truth to be something other than the truth.
Like, don't confuse me with the facts, right?
Right. Yeah. And oh, look, everybody's sick. Well, stop testing, because then nobody will be sick. You know, it's these logical
Fallacies.
It's not even a fallacy. It's idiocy. You know, you don't bury your head in the sand. You look for the truth, and then you verify it with additional facts. But if it's all opinion, you know, Bob's Bait and Tackle blog saying that, yeah, you know, if you, like what Trump said about, you know, sticking a fluorescent tube up your butt and suddenly it's going to kill the COVID virus. No, don't be dumb. No, you can't drink bleach. You know, all of this stuff that these idiots were saying. No, that's not how it works. Well, anyway, this paper, it says, as the paper notes, false claims about the 2020 election by former President Donald Trump and others, as well as false news reports about purported election malfeasance, have made such beliefs common among Republicans. At the same time, Democratic Party leaders publicly emphasize that many of Republican-backed measures imperiled democracy. Yet the more positive implication of the findings is that the partisans on both sides largely avow that they support democracy to a greater degree than their rivals think, and seem receptive to hearing that their political opponents do as well, perhaps through approaches like the joint Utah ad. Pentland adds, we find that making people aware of how much voters on each side support democracy has the effect of rather dramatically lowering the temperature on toxic polarization and even changing which candidates people say they will vote for. Therein lies the rub, because on the extremist side, the moment that you show that you aren't partisan, you're now a target for the vitriol and hate. Like the attorney that used to be representing Trump now is getting all of the threats and vitriol because they're no longer supporting Trump, even though they're still kind of, to me at least, they're kind of wingnutty. But I haven't really followed them. All I know is that you don't refer to people as leftists, regardless of them being leftist. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
we're usually a spectrum, and when you end up being able to pen yourself into the very far edges, you've got an internal bias problem here. So for this reason, he notes, there is also hope in these findings that by reducing fear between partisans, we can strengthen democratic institutions. Well, that means that everybody has to step away from the extremist wingnuts. And
True. And of course, we all know part of the problem is, as elected officials, while we would like to think everybody's going to do exactly what's right, etc., the reality is, if their voters get it in their head that they're not supporting them, or they're being too agreeable with another party or whatever, like that puts them at risk for re-election, etc., which I think causes them incentives not to necessarily get in sync with another party.
Yep.
That's just speculation, though. I don't have any stats to support that.
Yeah. So it says here, to conduct the survey, the researchers conducted an online survey and then a pair of experiments using the Lucid and Mechanical Turk platforms. The survey asked representatives sample of 1,973 U.S. citizens to estimate their political opponents' willingness to subvert democratic norms, and to state their own willingness to do so when presented with 7 types of non-democratic actions, such as limiting polling stations, banning rallies, and more. It says overall, the results were similar between members of the 2 main U.S. parties. Democrats estimated that Republicans would be willing to subvert 5.0 democratic norms on average, while being willing to subvert 1.5 themselves. Republicans estimated Democrats would be willing to subvert 5.2 and 1.2.
Okay, that's pretty fascinating.
So it goes back to my 80-20 kind of, the Pareto rule, or more specifically, the Mayor Watt rule, which is that there's 45% on one side, 45% on the other side, and 10% in the middle going, what the hell is going on here? All I want to do is vote and move on. And I'm somewhere in that. But you're not allowed to say centrist, because the moment that you say centrist, you don't get anything done, you're an idiot, you don't understand how anything works, etc., etc.
I think in general, if you say anything with ist, it's a problem. Even if it's not a bad term.
Yeah. And I wouldn't call myself anything. I'd like to say that I don't fit into any one pen. I want fiscal responsibility, but I also like liberal policies that are open, inclusive, allow engagement, embrace everything. As long as everybody... Go ahead.
I was going to say, whatever you're saying does not seem to fit into any existing construct overall. I'm not saying any one politician, but just any one party.
Yeah. I know there is a anyway, I won't get into it. But anyway, there's more in this article. But it basically comes down to people aren't trusting each other, even though both sides are not trusting each other. We're not going to get anywhere. And if we keep going down this path, we're basically going to end up at a stalemate where everybody suffers because nobody can get anything done without basically, like we are now in the United States, holding a gun against each other's heads saying you got to do this, or the economy is going to go down the drain. And
in
the
less
people
than a week, by the way.
Yeah. And the people that are going to suffer the most aren't the people that have the ability to truly shape policy. We all complain or make some statement or whatever. But we all know that it's the lobbyists that are controlling all of this, basically American oligarchs. So it's an interesting world that we're living in. And as that adage states, we live in interesting times. Yeah, I don't want to live in interesting times. I want everything just to be kind of smooth sailing, Anyway,
boring is good in some contexts.
Boring is great in political contexts. Okay, so let's keep on hustling. We're pretty slow today. We're already an hour in, but only 3 articles.
That might be a new record.
Let's get going. This next article is in ohmTown Daily as well. And it's 4 in 10 restaurant foodborne illnesses. Illness outbreaks are caused by sick workers. This is why I tell people, if you're sick, don't come to work. Let me refresh this. So, Mary Kakatos over at ABC News, which is abcnews.go.com, wrote this article here, and it says, in a report published Tuesday afternoon, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention looked at outbreaks across 25 state and local health departments from 2017 to 2019, and they found out that among outbreaks where a contributing factor was identified, 4 in 10, or 41%, according to the article, were caused by food contamination from ill or infectious employees. Yeah, so the employees contaminated the food and got the people sick. So it includes handlers, workers, preparers making either gloved or bare-handed contact with food. So no matter what, if you're sick, you have a really good chance of getting other people sick. So, quote, if a food worker stays on the job while sick and does not wash his hands or her hands carefully after using the toilet, the food worker can spread germs by touching food, the CDC writes on the website. It's odd that they refer specifically to the toilet, but of managers who were interviewed, 91.7% said their restaurant or establishment had policies requiring food workers to notify their manager when they are ill.
Okay, what about the other 9%?
Yeah, 8.3%.
Right, I was rounding.
So my problem, though, is that when an employee says that they are sick, the job either says if you can call me and tell me that you're sick, you're good enough to work. And so you come in.
Right, which is the wrong attitude with any kind of customer based or like customer focused business.
Yeah. And I'm just going to do this parting shot because we're going to move on to the next article. If you do that, you're a sociopath. You're not trying to have a successful business or anything like that. You've transcended successful business. You've moved into successful sociopath. Because if you're willing to get your customer base sick, all it's doing is bad marketing. If I get sick at your restaurant, I will never encourage anybody to go there again. I will steer people away from your restaurant if I get sick. In fact, I've done that before, and I had found plastic in my food. I knew exactly where it came from, which was a bucket of crab, because it was a crab cake. And that business went under within 6 months of me calling their crap out and talking to people about it. The idea here is you have to take care of your employees, because your employees take care of your customers. And if you are endorsing your employees to get your customers sick, you are broken. Okay, unless you want to say something, I'm going to move on.
No, I don't have anything to
add. In an ironic turn, Twitter is adding crowdsourced fact checks to images. Right. This is going to work out well.
Crowdsourced and fact check, that kind of concerns me, but okay.
Yeah. This is over on the Late Night Geeks channel. It's from The Verge. Twitter is expanding its crowdsourced fact-checking program to include images shortly after a fake image went viral claiming to show an explosion near the Pentagon. Meanwhile, the person who owns Twitter is sitting there punching up a faux AOC account that is posting fraudulent statements, including policy. So, yeah, I don't think. And by the way that this should work is people are employed by Twitter with a vested interest in the facts of an image, not a bunch of people who have the ability to taint the results, because crowdsourcing it basically is, well, if I'm interested, then I'm going to fact check this. And there are a whole lot of people that will vote for a name of a ship that is just silly because they want to be silly, instead of the facts. They want to play a game instead of. There's a time and a place for everything, and crowdsourcing facts, probably not. This is how we found that marathon bomber or whatever, right? And it was the wrong person. Do you remember that person?
Oh, right.
I think it was a marathon where somebody had planted a bomb or something like that. Anyway, it was Reddit. They named the wrong person, and now it's a meme on Reddit. Hey, we found the bomber. Anyway, community notes, which are user generated and appear. Oh, and this is another way of trying to lower the cost for Twitter's operations, internal operations. It's something that when I do consulting, I tell people, unless you are accounting for the service as volunteer service and you're accounting for it in some way, you don't know how much the true cost of your operation is if you're relying on volunteerism. So there's a true cost here, and it's in the thousands of people that might take part in the crowdsourced fact checking that would have been part and parcel to the operations of Twitter. So you get what you pay for.
Well, right. And what are the qualifications of the average person out there? Probably not sufficient.
And the ones that do have qualifications and integrity are being drowned out by the people that are playing a game. So, and me just saying that statement could draw the ire of people, but hate to say it, you know who you are. Let me throw this into the chat, by the way, so that y'all can follow it. So this is over at The Verge. Mia Sato is the author of this, and put this article together. There really isn't much more here other than the fact that Twitter specifically mentions AI-generated fake images, which have been a combination of confusing, frightening, and amusing as they've gone viral on the platform. So I don't know. It says, for instance...
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, this article says what I was thinking, that I think the one that shared the fake Pentagon explosion was actually verified. So that's worse to me. If it's a fake verification, then it looks more reputable.
Yep.
Than if it had no verification to begin with.
Correct. Yep. And depending on the name of the account, it even adds more. Like if you pretend to be AOC and you post the explosion of the Pentagon, then it comes across as being a legit thing because the account is verified. The name is supposedly one that can be trusted. It must have happened, right? This didn't happen, I don't think, prior to Musk taking over Twitter. It's become kind of a cesspool of these games. At least
they've definitely had issues, but I think accounts got banned that engaged in things like this.
Gotcha. There were repercussions. Yeah. So, and the repercussions won't come until society blasts back, says something about the integrity of Twitter and directly calls out Elon Musk that this account should have been banned. Not this one, but anyway, an account should have been banned outright because the information was fraudulent and demonstrably provable. You can show, no, there was nothing there. Anyway, let's go on. The next article is how to see WWDC 23's AR Easter egg. That's right. Got to break out your phone, folks. Let's go over to Apple Insider. Malcolm Owen put this article together. Apparently there's an affiliate link in here somewhere as well. It says here, as usual, for major presentations, Apple has updated its dedicated page for Apple events to get ready for WWDC, and along with informing users when the event is going to take place. Apparently, it has an option to add the event to the user's calendar, and you can watch it via Apple TV or online at Apple. And to go with the event details, the page also sports a stylized Apple logo created specifically for the presentation. So when you break out your camera, apparently you can see a floating version of the shifting Apple logo in front of them. because it's been coded to trigger an AR interaction. So to view the Easter
that's
egg,
interesting.
it's pretty neat, right? So to view the Easter egg, the events page needs to be viewed in Safari. Once loaded on an iPhone or iPad, tap the Apple logo to bring up the AR experience. Alternatively, you can just tap the words view the AR experience on the page. So I guess it's not really an Easter egg, but okay. And you'll get to see it, and it looks like that. Pretty cool. I have not done that yet, but I will after the show. Let's go on to the next article. So normally when I do a rundown, I give the little sections a title, which will be in the show notes. And this one is Ed's Just In Case gig. Ed Sheeran pours pints and buys rounds at surprise Atlanta brewery visit, just in case his notoriety, his what fantastical success
Right.
runs out. He can always end up working at an Atlanta brewery. Apparently it was well received. So the British Grammy winner Ed Sheeran made a surprise stop at the Sweetwater Brewing Company on Saturday, according to People. It's capitalized. Is that the magazine People? Yeah, people.com. The musician, who was scheduled to play a concert at Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium that evening, documented the visit in a May 27th Instagram reel. So let's go over to VinePair, which is not where I thought that I'd be getting this from, but
I would
great
think
catch.
something like Variety would have had this.
Yeah, first, yeah. But maybe it's there in ohmTown, as well as here from VinePair. Nicolette Baker is the author of this article. The photography was provided by Sweetwater Brewing Company. Yeah, so there's Ed Sheeran about to load up a pint. Based on the fact that he won his court case, I think he's pretty damn happy, and he's just running around doing his concert. Pretty cool. You can follow the link and go over to this article as well. Oh man, I will never get this fixed. You know what I need? I need an AI that when I start to transition over to another article, it automatically posts. That would probably be really cool. I think ChatGPT can do it. I know the one that's at
I'm not sure I would trust it with that.
Yeah, it just puts bogus links in. Anyway, pretty cool. And Survey does, the 32-year-old can be seen handing beverages to patrons and pouring perfect pints before performing his new song Eyes Closed for the crowd. Wow, that's nice. At the end, he promises to buy the next round of beers. For 1 hour, drinks are on me. Nice.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, I know it's kind of a publicity stunt, but that's fun. You don't see too many celebrities do that.
So, Sheeran's May 27th concert, the latest stop on the pop star's Subtract tour, reportedly saw a whopping 76,335 attendees, a new record for the venue per a recent announcement.
Wow.
Anyway, there's more over at that article, so please follow the link and go and check it out. Let's go on to the next one. So this one's in the ohmTown Daily show. It's just ohmTown Daily now. This Swedish startup wants to be the IKEA of EVs with tiny flat pack cars that cost $11,000. We're getting closer to what I think is the target. You don't pay for the battery anymore. We'll see what this has to say. Swedish startup Lovely is working on tiny electric cars for urban environments. The Lovely O. Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. But anyway, its first car will cost around $10,700 and offer 60 miles of range. Lovely plans to flat pack the car parts and ship them to micro factories near where the customers live. I guess. It says here in the article, if IKEA made an electric vehicle, it might look a little something like the Lovely O.
I think those are cute.
It's cute, but it's going to get its ass kicked in the parking lot. Tim Levin is the author over at businessinsider.com. It it looks like it's just made of plastic, including the windshields, you know? It looks like a matchbox where you just kind of pop the front window out with your thumb. Fully taking advantage of LEDs. I don't know. I mean, it's small. I wonder what it handles. It has these tiny little 14-inch rims, which I guess are okay. It looks, you know what it looks like to me? Hold on. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Oh no, that's not it. Where is it? You know those, it's not Playmobil. It's like a Barbie truck where you get inside it.
Yeah, like the red and yellow ones.
Yeah.
But I can't think of who makes those.
I think it's called the Tykes? Little Tykes. There it is. Yeah, here, I'll, hold on. Oh no, I can't do that.
It does kind of look like that because it has those large doors on the side and everything.
Okay, this is safe. There we go. Yeah, it looks like that. So yeah, it looks like a little Tykes car, just a little bit more stylish for the 21st century. I like it. So yeah, it's going to flat pack and then get shipped. I don't know. It has 0 room inside it. Only 2 people. I'm sure only 2 people can fit in it. A strong breeze would probably blow it over. Yeah, they're trying to get it around 10,000 euro, roughly 10,700 US dollars. It has no real bumper. I don't think that this would work in the United States. It has no protection around the wheels to prevent direct impact onto the wheels. But maybe I don't understand. Go ahead.
It goes 56 miles per hour. I'm thinking you don't want to go above like 5 or 10 miles per hour in this.
Downhill in a hurricane. Its batteries are removable, meaning owners can swap in fully charged ones rather than waiting at a charging station. Well, won me over. Maybe I'll drive that around ohmTown. At roughly the size of a smart car, parking should be a breeze. Hey, it's starting to look a little more attractive, but it has
maybe
zero
that could be
bumpers.
ohmTown's official vehicle. You could have like an ohmTown logo on the side.
Hey man, the lovely O indeed. All right, let's get on. So the second to last article is about France opens its first electric vehicle battery gigafactory, which, what did I think I said this, the French EV Gigafactory is the little section title. France's first electric car battery plant has opened in the country's former mining heartland as part of Emmanuel Macron's reindustrialization plan. 3 government ministers and numerous local officials attended the inauguration of the automotive cell company's gigafactory near Lens. Seen as the first step towards France challenging China's dominance in the sector. I thought Tesla was the dominant one. So whenever I hear gigafactory, I always think that it's Tesla. Let me do something real quick before I walk too far away. Hello, bald zebra. How are you? Yeah, we are on the second to last article. Sorry, my brain just went blank. I hope you're doing well, bald zebra. Good to see you. So the plant is expected to create 2,000 jobs as France aims to be self-sufficient in battery production. by 2027. And whenever I hear Gigafactory, I always think Tesla. Well, this article is over at theguardian.com. Kim Wilshire is the author of this. And so basically gigafactories are these massive projects. They're massive buildings, and the objective is to be an all-in-one processing from raw materials to fully manufactured and distribution out kind of a enterprise. And they're usually huge. You don't refer to gigafactory as, building a single little matchbox, but the lens plant, which will begin production this summer, is expected to eventually create 2,000 jobs, including 400 this year, and produce 800,000 batteries a year. And it's the first of 3 such plants, with sites in Germany and Italy to follow. Not bad. It's talking about EV batteries, which right now are primarily lithium. So where are they getting their lithium? Because China is pretty much the dominant one in owning lithium sources, except here in the United States. Like everything, really, we are independent if we choose to be. But
weren't they doing a large lithium project in the UK, if I'm not mistaken? We had a previous article in ohmTown, but it may not have been the UK.
Yeah, it was the UK. Actually, it says, by contrast, Britain has been warned it's losing the electric vehicle battery race. Earlier this month, 3 major vehicle makers called on the UK government to renegotiate the Brexit deal, saying elements threaten the future of the country's automotive industry. It says, separately, startup British Volt collapsed earlier this year. It had hoped to build a gigafactory in Blyth in Northumberland. There's something going on in the UK with a huge lithium plant that was being spun up, and I don't recall exactly where it is. But China definitely has the major has a lot of control in lithium resources. The United States just declared some land that is supposed to be sacred to some original peoples' culture. I don't know how to describe this any other way than it's a land taking that's going to be used to dredge up lithium for EVs. So it's going to be rough here in the United States, but we are potentially self-sufficient in terms of lithium. I don't know.
But depending on which side of the transaction you're on, you're either really for it or really against it.
Yeah, you'd have to do a search in ohmTown to pull up the article and the podcast where I'm talking about it. Maybe I can work a way to make it easier to tie all of these statements together to past episodes, but it's rough because we do things on the fly here. Anyway, this is going to be interesting because we have yet to move away from lithium. And lithium is getting more and more scarce as we consume it, and we consume it quite a lot. And then we throw our batteries into landfill, and EVs use this massive battery pack that's just embedded in the car. It's not easy to remove, although technology like this last car is actually going to be impacting that, because you can fast swap these batteries out for this little EV. It only goes 56 miles an hour and can only go 60 miles in distance, but it's not designed to be, a Hummer.
I was going to say there was an article in ohmTown today about lithium in the US in California, connecting it to potential earthquakes at lithium mining.
Yeah, and that article was it's similar to the fear of fracking, which actually has caused earthquakes in far-flung places that don't normally have earthquakes, because they pump in what amounts to lubrication so that they can pull all of the stuff out of the ground. Well, doing this the same way in California, heavy fault zone, you're going to get earthquakes. You can almost guarantee it. The lithium resources here in the States, I think, are in Nevada, though. And that's supposed to be a huge development. Basically, mountaintop mining, they're just going to dig a whole valley out from a mountain all the way into a valley to get all the lithium out of the ground.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, the April 10th podcast is one where we talked about lithium in the UK. Gotcha. We've had other lithium discussions, but
great. Thanks. So yeah, there's plenty of history, and if you want to know more, I would suggest going back. Either you have to do your own due diligence, or you look at our past discussions about this kind of stuff. Our news is very holistic, so it's a pretty broad spectrum. 1 second.
And I was going to say, when you search on the site, you can search, you will get podcast results as well. And so that's how I actually located that particular episode.
Yeah, we got the show notes in the podcast itself, so should be easy to find. Okay, let's go on to the last article for tonight. They're coming for our gerbs. Even the goats are not immune. So this is about policy, rules and regulations, folks. And it's quite an interesting dilemma, because you're like, oh gosh, why are goats being impacted by some policy in California labor law? Well, it's because what you don't know about goats is that they have to be shepherded by people. Bald Zebra, I don't know if I've asked you, is it okay to repeat what you say in the chat? Because it's not seen by the podcast, and I always ask once, and then I assume until you say no. Okay, so Bald Zebra's significant other has goats that eat grass at the school they teach at.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually seen this. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I've actually seen this. I've seen, they also have 2 dogs that shepherd them and some humans. So now I'm going to ask you, because this is perfect. You are awesome for making those statements. So here's how this works, because now I'm really curious. Okay. So we don't need to worry about the article the video, because it usually never sticks with it. So this is over at The Hill, and it's an Associated Press article. Goats grazing to prevent wildfires could lose their jobs due to California labor law. So you go, what the heck is that all about? Well, the shepherds are normally from out of the country, new to the United States, and not necessarily treated equally and given all of the benefit that somebody in the US would normally demand to some degree, right? So it says targeted grazing is part of California's strategy to reduce wildfire risk, because goats can eat a wide variety of vegetation and graze in steep, rocky terrain that's hard to access. Backers say that they're an eco-friendly alternative to chemical herbicides or weed whacking machines that make noise and pollution. I'm not worried about the weed whacking machines. Chemical herbicides, yeah, I kind of have a problem with that. But so Bald Zebra says it's really cool. The dogs are super aggressive. You mean with the goats? Yeah. It's interesting how they do it. They maintain eye contact, and that's what makes the goats. And they do it with sheep and other things too. But they sit there and stare them down and growl a little bit, and herd them all automatically. It's really cool. And they're controlled by the shepherds too. The shepherds will either whistle or make a sound that triggers the dog into action to do something. It's pretty neat. Well, the new state labor regulations are making it more expensive to provide goat grazing services, and herding companies say the rules threaten to put them out of business. And it's because the salary for the herders goes from $3,730 to $14,000, according to the California Farm Bureau. So yeah, that's what's going on. They basically say that the laborers, the herders, are coming from Peru and live in employer-provided trailers near grazing sites. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're getting any other benefit, anything else. You know, they're working X number of hours. So it says companies typically put one herder in charge of 400 goats. Many of the herders in California are from Peru and live in the employer-provided trailers near grazing sites. Labor advocates say the state should investigate the working and living conditions of goat herders before making changes to the law, especially since the state is funding goat grazing to reduce wildfire risk. So this is this convoluted statement, you know. So is there an issue here, or let's see here.
Oh, it's the overtime pay. That's the issue.
Say that again?
It's at the bottom. The overtime pay seems to be the actual issue.
So it effectively boosted the herders' minimum monthly pay from $1,955 in 2019 to $3,730 this year. It's set to hit $4,381 in 2025, according to the California Department of Industrial Relations. So,
I mean, isn't that like more than a 200% increase? So that's pretty significant.
From 4 years ago, yeah, it's a yeah, it's a 100% increase over. Yeah. So it says here that it would mean goat herders would be entitled to ever higher pay, up to $14,000 a month.
Okay, at that rate, they're probably making more than what every worker in every industry, other than like a CEO or something. I mean, that's a pretty high monthly pay. I'm not saying it's not warranted, but
yeah, I mean, it's what, close to 160,000 a year. So Bald Zebra says that they're kind of known around town, and that the dogs, the shepherds, the goats are known around town, and that they'll be affected still. I don't know, because this is firmly California, but this is what's really interesting about the economics of the United States. What happens in California has knock-on effects in other economic locations.
Yeah, and California tends to be one of those where you see it there first and then you see it in other locations. I don't know if it'll be the same. I mean, it might not be the same laws, of course.
Dunkstar, welcome to the show. And yes, hello, citizens. If you haven't signed up for ohmTown, go and sign up. We got some really neat features coming. Not to try and sell you on ohmTown, but if you like being able to go back in history and revisit articles that you liked, we're making it really easy now. So this is really interesting. But I never in a million years would have thought that they were making $14,000 a month herding goats.
Well, agreed. And I didn't even realize that the U.S. Typically used visa workers for goat herding. Like, I don't even think of goat herding as involving right? I think of the goats, not that there are people involved. I don't know much about it, obviously.
Yeah, I thought it's kind of like a microwave. You set it and forget it, right? You just plop them on the field and then you come back.
Right. I didn't know it was set up the way it's described in the article.
Yeah. Because I've seen them before, but I don't think I ever saw a human. Kind of fascinating. So he said the herders are paid about $4,000 a month and don't have to pay for food, housing, or phones. That's the Aerosmith employees, 7 goat herders from Peru under the H2A visa program for temporary workers. So this I can imagine, yeah, this I get. $4,000 a month, and they're basically hopping from one location to another every couple of days, depending on how fast their goats are eating. But $4,000, that's, a month here in the States. That's what, minimum wage? 36,000. Well, I mean, it would be 48,000 a year.
It's hard to gauge. That's part of the issue here, is because I think they're on call for so many hours, and since they can't necessarily leave, that's compensable, and I think that's why they're getting into so much overtime pay.
Yep. Yeah, because we have rules and regulations. My gosh, Sorry, y'all don't see the AI reacting when I make statements like that.
Making all kinds of error messages at you.
Wait, I have to treat people as if they're people? I can't just treat them as if they're a goat and set them on the field and say I'll come back in 3 days? Huh. I have been doing things wrong this whole time. Glad I'm not in California. Might have to pay somebody more. Treat them with respect.
I think we need to set up a goat herding business. I had no idea. Although maybe not with all the labor costs.
Yeah, just don't do it in California, because that's where it's going to get expensive. So it says we fully support increasing wages for herders, but $14,000 a month is not realistic. So we need to address that in order to allow these goat grazing operations to exist. It sounds so negative, to allow these goat grazing operations.
Exactly.
Those
meanwhile,
bastards.
They're doing something eco-friendly.
Yeah. Well, and it's the state of California, so pay them and get the job done in a natural way instead of having to use chemicals or have troops, because you're going to be paying this amount of money. If you're going to have troops of people running around weed eating, yeah, it's going to get even more expensive. Think how many hours
that would be. I mean, that's constant. I assume with the goat herding or the goat grazing that maybe you don't have to do it as frequently, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's 8 hours of work for the area that's around ohmTown. And that's a crew of 6 people doing it for about 8 hours. And there is no way that California is going to be trooping out, 500 people to do California? Good luck. Anyway, that is it for today's ohmTown Daily. Let me bring you back to the very beginning of this. And I don't know if y'all have gone over to ohmTown in a little while, but we've implemented this policy, this function where you can now save, and I call it a policy because it's ohmTown and we have policies and procedures. And so the procedure for this is you sign up and you'll get the option to save things by swiping it left or swiping it right and ignoring it. And then once you're a citizen, that means you've signed up. You'll have 2 more options right here. And one will be the list of the articles that you've saved, and the other list will be articles that you're ignoring, because you can, if you want to, go back through your ignored articles and go, ooh, my attitude has changed about this. I think I'm going to save this article and be able to recall it back. And then you can actually provide links to other people where they'll be able to go to the link that you saved, but they won't see your list. They'll only see the URL that you send them. So it's pretty cool. And we're going to have additional functionality where you can click on a date and it'll pull up only that day's news. And you'll be able to go back in history because we'll have a drop down right here where you can select the day all the way back to pre-ohmTown public access. So it will have just a ton of news. close to 6 years worth of news, because that's how long I've been using this. So what we do at the end of every show is we bring you back to the front page, and we go through all of this really quick and try and what am I reading? Okay. So we know about the U.S. debt ceiling. Let's see what else is in here. Do y'all see anything?
So that one catches, no joking allowed in Vietnam. I don't know what the context is, but I like the headline.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look. We'll read the snippet. A lot of this is about the debt ceiling.
Riot we have the League of Legends strike, though.
Yeah, so they made some changes, and now League of Legends season after players voted to walk out. So they're Riot is getting hit by a riot. So they're making their own League of Legends by just walking away. This is really interesting. I've seen these articles, but I haven't really dove into them. I just know that they exist, and there was some change that has caused people to just lash out, like, we're done with this. Let's see what else. Oof.
Theranos is going to jail. I mean, that's been in the headlines today.
Hey, wait, where is she? Oh, yeah. So this...
Or Elizabeth Holmes, sorry. I said the company name, not the person.
Theranos. Imagine trying to send an entire company to jail. Sometimes you should, but... yeah, so, like always, every time you go back to ohmTown, you're going to get some new news. It's constantly importing, so I hope you enjoy ohmTown. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any ideas about other features, functions, things that you'd like to see, you let me know, and I'd be happy to investigate to see how we might be able to deploy something. You can send an email to mayor@ohmtown.com, and I will be the one that gets it. And if you want to look at all of the past episodes of the podcast, then there you go, and you can go and vote. We're going to be changing this here to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing here in the short future. You can vote for the articles that you find interesting. You can't follow these as links yet. You can't even select them, but we're working on that. And you can go into the past. We've only used this for about 10 days, though. So, in fact, today will be the 10th day. Why is that not on there? There it is. I had to refresh my own election. So there you go, folks. All the news that's fit to print. And I like to say all of the news, none of the noise, but all I am is making noise. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and we will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Right around the end of the week is going to be when Diablo 4 drops, and if not right before, maybe I'm trying to kick this off tomorrow where I stream, but I have some work that I need to do, and I don't want to start something up and then have to bow out for a little bit. So I'm thinking that Friday is the day where I am going to start the streaming at 10 o'clock. And if you are available, it's 10 a.m. Eastern, and I will end up going until, Dunkstar, we can't all be independently wealthy stars like you with all of those bucks that you've got. I've got a bunch of them, and I'm trying to get onto that couch, by the way. I'm really interested. I don't know why, but I have this, it's like my bucket list. So Dunkstar has a couch on his set, and that couch has, I think, 3 people on it right now, and I want to be the 4th one But I'm not getting enough money to buy my spot on there. You have to be ever present. You got jokes, Mayor? Me? I think that they're probably timeless style jokes. Yeah, you'll have to, if you're hearing my voice in the podcast or elsewhere, you're going to have to go to Dunkstar over on Twitch, DUNCSTAR, and don't forget Bald Zebra. I don't think I have to spell that one, maybe. And of course, Timeless, which is timeless_exe, all on Twitch. Come and hang out. They got YouTube channels as well. I think they're everywhere I am, but they were there before me. Y'all are trailblazers for me. So I will see you all tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. I will end up in both of your channels in short order after the show today, as a matter of fact. So you want to say bye, oh great AI?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. We will see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.